Interpersonal Communication Project 2015, Tracy Carter, Liberty University, Human Services Counseling, 508. Next slide. A little bit of background about me. My name is Tracy Carter. I'm married and I have one child, Micah. I'm a registered dental assistant for 7 years. I'm working on my master's degree and I hope to become an LADC in my later years. My passion is working with children and those who are addicted to alcohol and drug abuse. This project is on interpersonal communications. Next slide. My presentation content includes an overarching goal, introduction, identity and communication, barriers, noise pollution, enlarging the conversation, personality, the 4-disc personality types of behavior, behavior blend, who am I, behavior attributes, plan of action, and references. Next slide. Overarching goal. My overarching goal is to become an effective listener, to better understand who I am, how to relate better to those I interact with, how to become less passive, and to be a well-rounded individual in all that I aspire to do. Next slide. Introduction. Interpersonal communication is a subset of communication in general. Interpersonal communication is the process by which people exchange information, feelings, and meaning through verbal and nonverbal messages. It includes not just what is being said, but how it is being said. The term interpersonal labels the kind of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. Next slide. Identity and communication. In Bridges Not Walls, identity is depicted as a constellation of feature or labels that establish social expectations that we have of ourselves and others. Identity is a mix of what we believe ourselves to be and what others can see that we ourselves are unable to see. Identity and communication go hand in hand, with communication essentially meaning is in the words. They are related in the fact that others can gain an idea or sense of who you are from the way that you interact with others. We each are the total sum of our past experiences, nothing more and nothing less. Peterson depicts communication as sharing information and connect with others. Body language of tone expression and engagement come into place as well. Next slide. Barriers. Listening barriers exist when an individual hears what they want to hear instead of what is really being communicated. One of these is a flat brain theory syndrome. This includes an emotional overload, negative reactions, and an inability to be open with others. Next slide. Noise pollution. Noise pollution involves internal and external distractions. Some internal distractions are how an individual is listening, one's own internal emotions, and their internal filters. External distractions could be visual distractions, others interrupting while we're talking, or loud noises while you're having a conversation. Next slide. Enlarging the conversation. Enlarging the conversation forces individuals to actively engage oneself to step out of their comfort zone that they currently reside in. This is one issue that I have to work on. John Stewart states, there's a direct link between the quality of your communication and the quality of your life. This statement is a great example of enlarging my conversation. When an individual allows themselves to acknowledge another's point of view by thinking of themselves within their position, one can then encourage that individual to share his or her ideas, causing the conversation to widen. Next slide. Personality. Personality refers to individual differences in characteristic patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving. The study of personality focuses on 2 broad areas. One is understanding individual differences in particular personality characteristics, such as sociability or irritability. The other is understanding how the various parts of a person come together as a whole. Next slide. There are 4 personality types of behavior. This acronym is DISC. D is active or task-oriented. I, active, people-oriented. S, passive and people-oriented. And C, passive, task-oriented. Next slide. Behavior blend. One's behavioral blend is essentially the specific personality pattern of the way one acts, thinks, and feels. Within the behavioral blend, there are 2 specific perspectives portrayed: This is me, and this is what is expected of me. The tests that I took show that I am extremely adept at interpreting other people's words and actions and seeing things from their perspective, which likely results in very few misunderstandings. This is a good blend to have as I'm going into counseling, so empathy is a great attribute to have. One's behavioral blend will affect how we communicate. Next slide. Who am I? When I took the test, the uniquely test results showed that this is me is ISC. This means I'm more passive than active. I'm both outgoing and reserved. I prefer peace and harmony, inspiring and impressing both to crowds and individuals. This is what expected of me. Those results showed that I'm IS. I'm influential and stable, more people-oriented than task-oriented, more relational than functional or project-oriented, and I'm a perfect people person. Next slide. My plan of action. Avoid interrupting. One of my problems when talking or listening is that I always interrupt. I'm not trying to be rude, but I just try to get my point across before the other party is even finished speaking. Burley Allen states, effective listening can reduce stress and tension. I believe that in my marriage and many other aspects of life, if I did not continue to interrupt, there would be a lot less tension and stress. Another thing that I need to do is become a more effective listener. I will refrain from solving the talker's problems or doing the person's thinking for him or her, and avoid being critical and judgmental. Usually I jump right in and try and solve what they're saying before they've even stopped and finished what they were saying, to become less passive. Oftentimes I let people intimidate me into doing things that I don't really want to do. I need to learn to be more assertive. As I aspire to become a counselor, I have to learn to get my passiveness under control, as I will not be a very effective counselor if I'm not able to articulate to the patient what they need to hear instead of what I think will put me in their good graces by not upsetting them. Next slide. References. Thank you.